Look at what I'm wearing, and there's people out in shorts and t-shirt. It's not only freezing, but it's now raining. That's why I've stopped in this bit here. I want to start documenting instead of just trying to create. And what that means is talking about the real shit, what's actually happening, documenting the real process that's going on here. And fundamentally, the real process is a mess. There's nothing about it which is clear cut, nice, tidy process. The real thing's a mess, to be honest. And it's a situation where not much is going to go to plan. But you got to do what you can. And you got to focus on what you can control rather than getting annoyed about small things. I feel like this is such an important part of improving yourself, is what you let get in your way. So if you let everything get in your way, then, you're constantly at the mercy of what happens to you, which, if your work requires focus, if that's your situation, like, you're not getting anything done, are you? And so I realized this recently, that like too many things affect me. And this is a good concept from a book by Rangan Chatterjee. Minimal reliance is this idea that we aren't relying on too many things going perfectly. If your life is at the mercy of everything going perfectly, like, your whole life's just going to be this constant drastic changes of whether today's good or not. When I heard that, I realized that I let too many small things irritate me, frustrate me, that cause me to get annoyed at things, feel stress. And when you feel stress, at some point you need to escape it. If you don't develop some healthy way to deal with it, it can be really bad for your life. Like, you can basically fuck up your life from your stress. It can fuck up relationships. It can be a big problem. When I think about being minimally reliant on things going perfect and to plan, I have to understand that things will go wrong. It's inevitable. You can basically guarantee that things aren't going to go to plan 100% of the time. And in that, you need to always look for what you can control and what you can't control. I just went and got a coffee. When I went in, this guy came from somewhere, walked in, took the last table. I said, "Can I get an Americano?" And then he said, "Where are you going to sit?" And I looked around. There's no other tables. So I said, "There's no tables. I'll get it to take away." Stood there for 5 minutes. And then he puts a cup on, like a cup and saucer to drink there, on the counter for me. There's no tables, mate. I asked for takeaway and he was like, "We don't have takeaway cups." I'm like, "But I asked you for it to take away. Why didn't you say that when I ordered it?" He was like, "I can give you a reusable one." And I thought that he was trying to say the only cups we have are reusable. You have to buy them. I was like, I don't want a reusable cup though. And he gave me this. And then the lid on this was filthy. It's over there somewhere. If you let small things get to you, that could be a really frustrating process, because at every stage, it didn't go to plan. Every single element of that process was just like, bruh, when these things really affect you, your whole life is basically a string of those experiences. Because it just is. That's just how it goes. And so if you let those get in your way, that's a problem. The way I think of this is, what I'm working on is so important for me that this small thing I can't even pay attention to. I'm not letting this small thing get in my way, because what I'm doing is much more important. And so this process of minimal reliance, it really just helps you focus on what's really important, and it helps you to come back to what's important all the time. What's important for me in that situation with the coffee is to deal with that in a way that it doesn't annoy me, so that I can look at it properly. Because if you're annoyed about stuff, you don't really think correctly about it. You're stuck in your emotions. You don't really bring logic to the situation. Logically, you know that isn't worth getting annoyed about. It's not really anyone's fault. No one is set out to do you wrong in that situation. It's just happened that way. And that is inevitable. Now, if you get in your emotions and get frustrated with that, I just paid for parking. I just came down here from so far away for a coffee and blah, blah, blah. It's just nonsense. And then you're letting situations like that affect you. And it doesn't help you in any way. It just does a disservice to you. So the way I think about what I need to do is, it's the most important thing to me. Everything else, if it could stop me or it could stress me or it could hinder me in any way, it has to get cut off. Like, I can't pay that any mind, because it could cost me in my pursuit of what I'm working on. And so just from that perspective, becoming minimally reliant is very important, because it helps you to think about situations that are going to happen as inevitable, and that you aren't relying on things going perfectly to be content and happy, that you expect these things to happen. It's not going to go to plan. It's not going to be smooth sailing all the time. And the example of the coffee is such a small one that you can say that's such a first world problem type situation, which it is. But there's so many things like that. And it comes down to how important is the thing that you want to get done. And are the things which happen that hinder you more important or less? Because if something's more important, it should hinder your thing. Right? If you're working on something and you break your neck, right, that's more important to fucking get that sorted out than for me to keep on coding this afternoon. I think that when you're stressed about your life, you let small things affect you. Small things have more of an effect on you. Unimportant things affect you more. And I think you really need to think about what is important. Is this more important or less important? Is this worth me worrying about? Because for most things, they're not worth worrying about. They're not worth arguing about. They're not worth getting stressed about. And now, I now own a reusable coffee cup. There you go.